Good. We're gonna get started here in just a second, man. Trying to get this pulled up on the computer so we can look at comments and all that kind of good stuff and make sure all that is turned off so we don't lose anything here. Let me know if we got good audio and sound, and audio is sound, I guess. Visual and everything else would be appreciated, man. Hope you all are doing great. I am stoked. All right, I see you. Man, I was getting this thing going up on. Awesome, Brent, man. Good to see you. I know I'm running late, but it is what it is. I went fishing today. We got no survival gear talk here tonight. So personal, man. It's gonna be conversational. A couple chubs, man. That was it. Just some little guys. But it was fine because I was out with my oldest daughter and her husband and my granddaughter and then my son. So it was good to be out with everybody together. We're gonna go over. I want to talk a little bit about some, recent events with a so what, and then maybe a piece of a story from my life, and it's part of the most epic story that's ever been told. I'll put the whole thing on its own video because it's absolutely ridiculously awesome. And then we'll just kind of chit chat, and as always, like, your comments will drive the conversation, because I'm not here to pontificate. Hey, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. This is all about just conversation. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. And I guess that's part of my struggle, to be honest with you, with YouTube. This is my confession, right? Here's my big confession, and some of the struggle is with YouTube this year. Like, I'm just the platform, the whole thing is just. I always try to ask myself questions, right? I think you have to be a little bit cynical in your life about everything. And hey, awesome, good to see you, my friend. Doing outstanding. But the YouTube is even more cynical than I am. Like, it's crazy. It feeds creators lies, and then if you're not careful, you will begin to believe those lies, and then all of a sudden the lies turn into what they are, and it just kind of is what it is. So, but it's also just kind of a creative thing. Like, I've been going hard and fast with YouTube for I guess going on 5 years, and it has been great. It has been awesome experience to be part of that creative element. I've always had some sort of big piece of creativity that I've always kind of outpoured in. And a side note, before I get off today, there'll be a contest, and it's who can guess what's behind the patch. Who can guess what's behind the patch? I'll ask that a few times as we keep going through and getting some new guys coming in and some folks going out. But there's something behind my patch. What is it? So yeah, I mean, you go and you create content, and the lies that YouTube makes is, you have 97,000 subscribers, whatever, and that means something, and it doesn't. Like, the amount of subscribers that somebody has is about akin to being able to string words together. Like, that doesn't make you more virtuous than somebody else. because and the what's there is the so far nobody's got it. Um, you end up pushing a video out and it gets 250 views. Like, it's just all a scam, it's all a lie, and you can't get lost in it. It's so easy to get lost in the craziness. For me, on occasion, it's the madness of YouTube. For a lot of us, it's the madness of life and the news cycle that just crushes you uh, with a bunch of crap. Right? It's all a bunch of crap. Um, it is not a razor blade either, but good guess. It is smaller than a bread box, though. Ah, that is a superb guess, but it is not the alien that's sitting up in my shelf. If you don't know why I have an alien in my shelf, it's because I'm from Roswell, New Mexico. That's where I was born, so they're all my kin. Maybe that's the big confessional. Gabe, man, not much, brother. Good to miss you. The only thing that you missed is all I caught was a couple chubs off of Rock Creek, my man. That's where I went. I think I'm gonna hit the river next. Gnostic Nomad, is it the hope that America has left to pull? Man, I think we all need a little bit of hope for that. So, going into I, I think like anybody, some of the recent events. Let's see. It is not a fish hook either. Um, Kind of, caught me off guard, just like I think it caught everybody off guard. And speaking specifically of the murder of Kirk, right? Um, I've watched a lot of his stuff in the past, and I watch a lot of debates. Like, I don't watch content that relates to my channel. I'm more into conversational, watching dirt bike videos and debates and things like this. Sometimes cooking stuff because I enjoy cooking. But honestly, I was really furious about the young woman being murdered on the light rail system, not far away from me, and I was even just as furious at the pontiffs and the creators and the the monologues all making a buck off of somebody's assassination, right? I mean, that really irks me bad. And I'm sure some of it, maybe a lot of it, maybe all of it, I don't know. Maybe it's not intentional to try to make a buck. But you're right, man. Everybody's trying to catch the views, right? And I talk about this a little bit with one of the guys that I work with, is that, drama sells. And if you don't have drama in what you're doing, like, nobody's going to click on it. If it's not shocking, if it's not over the top, like, nobody cares. And yet people are still cashing in on it, and it drives me nuts. And we talked a little bit that morning when Kirk had been murdered, but it was a very solemn morning and drive in, and didn't really talk about it again for a few days. And like, we're both Christian men, and trying to do what we can to live our faith in a way that has integrity and boldness. And we didn't talk about it for a while. And because of when we ended up talking about it again, um, and just that darkness in humanity that exists, it was an intentional point to say I'm not going to make that video about that. And I know we're kind of talking about this now, but um, but I'm not going to cash in on this shit because it's wrong. Um, for me, anyways, I don't want to. I don't want to cash in on that. Now, I have thought about even changing the format of the channel. We can talk about that later, but I think of a lot of the other debate shows that I watch, especially I enjoy watching anybody debating O'Connor or Hitchens or Dawkins or anybody, the old stuff. It's always fun to watch John Lennox and some other guys. And what happens a lot in these debates is people get stuck in nuance, right? They get stuck in a particular reason. Maybe it's an effect, maybe it's a cause, maybe it's a whatever. It's a sentence, it's a statement, it's a reflection. And where people get stuck in that and they never really get to the so what, right? They never get to the so what. So, if you're talking to maybe it's a person who, not so much maybe agnostics, but maybe it's somebody who's a deep and has a deep belief or lack of belief that there is nothingness, right? That there is no meaning. Most people will refuse to actually embrace that. Hello, my friend, Mr. A. I hope you're doing well. Appreciate you joining in. Most people won't get lost, won't dive into the absurdity, right? They won't get lost into the nothingness, because ultimately you end up in this contradiction that can't support itself, because everybody does have meaning in their life, whether it's created or not. But you can't say that there is nothing, and then you get this big circular argument. And that's where I think a lot of times, we need to just ultimately just be a little bit cynical. Like I'm really cynical about progressive and liberal, right? Yeah, dude. Not nobody really goes all in on nihilism. They just use nihilism and existentialism as a way of pushing back against something that somebody else believes, right? But they don't actually believe it. And that's why, if you haven't checked it out, like watch the old movie. It's actually a one-act play originally, Sunset Limited. If you've seen it, drop a comment. And by the way, we're still looking to see who can guess what is behind the patch. Before we jump off today, I will reveal what's behind the patch. And if you happen to leave because you have to, I will drop a community note, because it'd be kind of cool. Oh man, I could not put a Zippo lighter behind this patch. Now, come on. Look, it's obviously thin, right? It's obviously thin. You crazy. Man, it'd be a pretty thin challenge coin too, but it's not a bad guess. It'd be kind of small though. I do have a bunch of challenge coins. Yeah. But I think you got to be a little cynical. It is not a razor blade. Good guess. It's a fantastic guess. It's not a razor blade. It's not a fish hook. I mean, obviously, there's some Velcro, Gabe. Come on now. It's Velcroed on. But what's between the hook and the loop, right? What's between the hook and the loop? You have to ask questions. You have to seek. You have to be cynical of what people are telling you on the news, right? You have to. It is not a match or a book of matches. Great, good guess though. I like fire. It is not a sewing needle. Um, no, it is not a mini pick or a ferro rod. Great guesses. Um, it is not a suture or fishing line or any kind of cordage. um, Nothing to do with water purification either. God damn, Brent. You're the winner. You're the big chicken winner. It is, in fact, a guitar pick because I play guitar. Um, that's crazy, man. I guess somebody eventually had to get it if people kept guessing stuff, and I kept pushing for guesses. But no, that's awesome, Brent. That is too funny. But man, I love playing, and that was one of my earliest forms of creative expression was um, writing songs and playing music. Started off playing bluegrass, actually, just G, C, and D, and I played with some buddies who played banjo. Whole family, three of them playing four string and one playing five, and there I am, not crushing it playing guitar, having these dreams of singing. Hey, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you, my friend. Um, and eventually I stopped playing, and then I picked it back up, probably in 2001 or 2002. Oh man, I appreciate you. Yeah, my son used to work at a uh, what do you call? It wasn't an auction house. It was I mean they did do auctions, but estate sale when we were in Olympia, Washington, and both of these were put on that. So he picked them up for one for me and one for my wife. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I picked playing guitar back up 20 years ago, and I'm not good. Like I'm not gifted, right? That is not my gifting. Just like singing is not my gift. Um, I do okay with either one. Songwriting is what it is. I don't know that I'm gifted at that either, but I do enjoy it. Um, Maybe I'll go busking in town. I don't know if they're ready for that game. I don't know if Blairsville's ready for the Buskin Stoker. That kind of fell into a little bit more photography and then led into some videography stuff. But I do enjoy it. So yeah, man, that's I think you got to ask questions. Oh, right on. Yeah, I would like to play more. I would like to play more, but we'll see. Hey, my friend, Grit and Grace. What a cool name. What a cool name, man. Thanks for joining us. Um, oh, good stuff. Um, so here's a little. Bottom line, dude. Ask questions, but not only questions about opposing views. Ask questions about your own views, about your own leanings, about your own virtues, and always ask the so what, the so what, the so what. Um, so you believe in this, so what? Then once you get an answer to that, ask the next so what. If you have a question about something, you just keep dialing in and exploring it. I think that's super important. So there was a time in my life, but before that, what are you cynical about? Oh, I don't have my flask, but I do have some commie tears for a little bit from now. What are you cynical about? Let's drive this conversation a little bit about some of the things that you all have serious questions about. Maybe it's not serious. Maybe it's not serious, but you're still. Hey, good evening, y'all. Appreciate y'all hopping on in. One of the few 36s out there. 30. Oh, we lost 3, down to 33, but that's okay. You guys are still awesome. Man, getting old sucks, and I'm still out there. I can't work like I used to. I take a few more breaks, and I make some of the younger guys do some stuff. So that when I get home, so what? So why? So that when I get home, Mrs. Stoker doesn't yell at me for being an old man doing too much, because she does that all the time. Man, arthritis sucks. Gout's worse. Ugh. Been in the rabbit hole, man. I understand that. Yeah. There's so much about our society that would. Oh man, Richard. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. It'd be like that, but I'm glad. I'm glad our paths crossed tonight. Swish, still doing YouTube. I get you. Um, Man, I'll tell you. In order, dude, faith and family, right? You have to have those two things locked in. And there's been large portions and segments of my life when I didn't have those two things locked in. And even in the moments when I have had it locked in, um, I've still sucked at both, right? I suck at both. But I think some of it is like when you're a typical dude, you're a workaholic and you're grinding and you're trying to hone in on your purpose, and you're doing things for somebody else, namely your family. It's easy to get lost in that, right? Um, Man, I see you. I will. And I think this is part of that, to answer that question though. And I'm sure there's some other comments that have come in. I'll catch back up here in a second. Um, it's easy to get lost in the mechanics of what we do, right? And becoming that workaholic. Um, but it can end up becoming to the point where we lose sight of the why, right? We lose the why. Not intentionally. It doesn't happen overnight. Most of the time, it's that slow burning, slow boil, right, with that frog, and eventually you're freaking dead. Um, we need to recognize it and turn down. Um, no, it was in fact a guitar pick, but great catch. Good guess. Um, you got to constantly ask yourselves those questions of what is important, and go after it. And if you can do both, like, you're always going to have hobbies and stuff, and you're going to have some sort of creative output. I probably have more than my wife. Like, I mean, she has a ton of books. She reads a lot. She certainly has more books than I do now. I lost almost my entire library in a fire years ago. I only have a few left, compared to what I used to have. But maybe it's going to be camping or training or shooting or whatever. Most dudes have some kind of, maybe it's mechanic work, like whatever it is. But none of those things can get in the way. So, dude, I'm sure you're gonna find it, Swish. And you're gonna find the answer, and you're gonna find and carve your way through it. I just hope as you do, you continue to let those two things be first, right? In order, your faith and your family. I'm gonna scroll back up here to see some things that maybe we missed, maybe we didn't. Um, Constant lies of the world, wars, rumors of war, raptures, rumors of raptures. Like you pick it, man. And there's somebody making money, right? They're cashing in on our fears, on when I say our, like as a society, our fears. The things that we dread, the things that we know that there's something wrong. It's the Epstein files, it's the 9/11, it's the lockdowns, it's whatever it is. Like somebody is cashing in on that, and sometimes we get ourselves caught in it, and we just don't know it. But yeah, dude, that is so true. Um, Great amount of people minds firing up, but I'm starting to get a glimmer of hope back. Man, for me, I feel you. The cynic in me says that hope is potentially a double-edged sword, right? Um, People get fired up. Is it going to turn into something that it never should have been in the first place? And that's my own personal concern, right? Um, is that something ends up becoming so twisted that may have been started in good intentions, but those people that are out there that are twisting things for money, man, I just don't, I don't trust it. But we'll see, right? We'll see. Dano, my friend, you ain't lying in that. What things should we focus on in these times? I think so. I'm a little bit of an apophatic, right? I believe in the Desert Fathers a long time ago were a bunch of monks living out in the desert, and they had this weird way about them, and that they would try, in order to try to discover what you believe about God, they would talk about and think about what, not what God was, or what faith is, or any of these questions about what something is. It wasn't a positive formation of a question. It was a negative based question. What is God not? And that kept mystery allowed in their thinking and how they went about things, because they knew that they could never know. Right, it's the cloud of unknowing, dark night of the soul. Right. But how can I know by not knowing? I can know what's square if I know that a square is not round, right? That it's a simple, simplistic analogy, but that's kind of what that is, right? I can know what is like color blue. There's various shades of blue, um, but blue is not white, right? It's not black. So you don't necessarily have to define something by what it is, but you can define something. You can help find the shape of something by what it is not. And I think maybe it's the same way about things that we should focus on. Maybe if we reframe that question. What if we reframe that question to say, what are things that I should not focus on, right? Then we can maybe find the things that we should be focusing on. And things that you should not focus on, I think, are things that anything that can become addictive in your life, right? Anything that can become addictive. Like maybe it's maybe you find yourself addicted to a particular news station or podcaster, or like when I was growing up with my dad, right? It was the Rush Limbaugh show, the EIB network, right? And dude, my dad was lost in that. for a long time, and that made me lost in it because he was too, right? But it was a brain dump of ideology that became addictive in how you viewed other people and viewed society around you, and it was mind altering, right? Um, Anything that can be cultish, right? Um, Anything that would isolate you from what is most important is something that you probably should not pay attention to, right? That's like cult playbook 101. I want to love bomb you, right? I want to love bomb you and give you affirmation, and then as you come in because you want to be accepted, right? Then I'm going to begin to isolate you from anything that I don't agree with or that doesn't agree with me. And that can happen. That can happen, particularly in. I liked Rush too. I mean, he was a good dude. Um, would happen particularly in any form of spiritual formation group, right? Whether it's a church, could be a cult, could be a whatever. Could happen with a bunch of dudes training, right? And just trying to get after things like that, and then all of a sudden, you find yourself like, whoa, what the hell did I just get myself into? Um, so yeah, I think anything that's addictive in nature, it could be porn, right? You stay away from that crap. Anything that owns control over yourself, that has control over you, um, or whether it's societal in nature, spiritual in nature, things like that. Um, and I think if we don't focus on those things, the things that we should focus on will become uh, very clear to us. And it's probably going to be something like your family, your friends, obviously your faith. But even in these things, in these areas, if if it doesn't mean that you can't be cynical and not ask questions, right? So you have to, because your family can be just as jacked up as anybody else, right? Um, so I know this wasn't a direct answer, Dano, um, but I hope that was a little something. Let's see, Mike. Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you joining in. Um, Mike Taylor, if I could have hidden a flash, that would have been something. And on that note, Gnostic, Nomad, I see what you said about impacting people in your life. Something I used to tell those in my charge in the military all the time, because they would complain about the big army and policies and directives and stuff. I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, it doesn't matter what those people are saying way up there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't impact you. Like, just shut up and leave it alone. Stay out of the politics that the officers get themselves into. The only thing that matters is you and those in your charge. Are you doing what is right? Are you living the creed, right? Does that make sense? Like the creed of the non-commissioned officer. Live that regardless of anything else that's happening. Take care of the soldiers in your charge, and it will all be fine. And you know what? You go to these are the people that you go to the chow hall together. These are the dudes that you do PT together with. These are the guys that you go to the field with. That's the only thing that matters is you and those in your charge. Everything else can suck it. And that's why I'm not still in the military. I ain't playing no games. Let's see, Rocky, man, I appreciate that. Dude, we've been very blessed to be able to find this place. It was, I bought it from the widow of the guy who built this log cabin. And it started off as a very small log cabin, sitting in what was the original living room. There was 2 bedrooms upstairs and a small kitchen. And that was it. And then they actually set up a sawmill here on the property, Originally, they owned about 20 acres, and they cut and milled all the trees here. So all the material that built the house came from the property, and I was really stoked to get from the widow a lot of the stories about where everything came from. Like there's a baluster on the stairs. You can't see it with the pipe in the darkness. I guess you can kind of see it in the corner. That it came from local church, and it's just very cool. So yeah, I'm pretty awesome about that. Not as old as you think. Only as old as you think, man. Dude, I'm still like 14 half the time. 13. That's probably my most defining year. 13 years old, working on a ranch. Hey Ty, man, glad you caught in. Let's see. Just catching up on some comments here, guys. Right on. No, Swish, I'm glad you hung out. It's looking really Matthew 24, shall I say, right? Man, there's a lot of comments. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Gnostic, me too. I don't have a whole bunch of chickens, but it's getting there. I tell you what, everybody should be forced to do. Not everybody. I think every lefty should be forced to hold a chicken, like right here. Like hold a chicken right here. Let's see how many eyeballs get clicked out. Modern Frontiersman, my friend, good to see you. Daryl, holy smokes, man. Long time guy here. That's awesome. Although, man, appreciate you being here. First for everything. I don't do a lot of lives. I probably should do more. But you know what? I haven't because I refuse to let YouTube run my life. And maybe that's why the channel is smaller, or engagement is smaller, or whatever. But I can't live for the YouTube. Iowa, right on, my friend. Good stuff. On that note, man, I appreciate you guys. And if you didn't know, I haven't said this in a long time, my flask or my cup is filled with the tears of a kami every time you do the thing. Smells good. Yeah, you know, I get a little burned out on stuff here too. And that's why again, you know, I always think about, you know, what kind of content do I want to create, and I want to have fun doing it. Cheers for tears, baby. Cheers, not tears for fears, right? Tears. There'll be no 80s synth music going on around here. What kind of content do I want to make? I don't know. Like I always think about that. That would be a great name for a beer. This is Jefferson's. It's good stuff. I don't often do it. Yeah, dude. I don't know. What else are we cynical about? Anything? Anything specific? Gotta ask questions about things, about people, about angles, about all that stuff. But we're thinking about that, and yeah, dude. You can hit me up, stokermatic@gmail.com, and see if we can figure something out. Old Portland tomorrow, huh? Well, I don't know, but if I had to take a guess, it'll be a little of this and a little of that. Man, I'm just so had somebody that's I guess a friend or acquaintance or whatever on Facebook had shared this meme about, I guess, Texas now has um, reciprocity with every state's concealed carry permit, right? What do you think about that? Is that awesome? That Texas would honor any state's carry permits? What do you think about that? Is that a good thing? Is that a who cares thing? Does it matter thing? Does it not matter thing? Texas now honors every single state's carry permits. Of course, when this dude shared it, he thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. Um, and Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, I like some of what y'all are thinking. And honestly, I was like, dude, if that was so cool, so what it should say is Texas finally honors the Second Amendment. Like, but they don't, right? No state does. No state actually honors it, and the federal government doesn't enforce it, right? Doesn't enforce the Second Amendment. So crazy. Um, and I'll say that to every state, every county, every city, every state, if there is anything that infringes upon your right to keep and to bear arms, then the Second Amendment is not being adhered to. So I'm just saying, it's not always an easy conversation to have, and there's always what ifs out there that may flood the conversation. But it just kind of is what it is, right? So I don't know. I don't know. So when people ask me about the current state of affairs and current administration leanings and things that are going on, like I'm a cynic. Like, no, I'm not happy with any kind of usurpation or um, quasi tyranny that happens. Like I don't care if it's left, right, up, down, backwards, forwards. Usurpation is usurpation. So um, I'm I guess I'm. It's a little bit of a George Carlin in me, I guess, right? We got to be a cynic. Um, so I think Portland tomorrow. Yeah, dude. Portland is a whack town. I live not far north of it, and I've driven through Portland several times. It's a very cool vibe, for an urban center. A lot of old bricks. Very, um, very interesting with the highway that weaves through and kind of elevated and looking down at some of the downtown area and um, when I was on the West Coast, just before and during lockdown era, and just so much crap. It's just the same as with Seattle and the chop and everything. Was interesting. There was a point in time where like Walmart closed like a lot of stores in Portland, if not all, at least for a specific period of time. It was very interesting. The amount of homeless and the crime and the drugs on the street is absolutely ridiculous in these towns over there. Digital IDs passing in the UK. Heard rumors, nothing solid. I have not paid attention to it at all. I don't know if anybody else has anything about digital IDs passing in the UK or potentially coming up on the horizon. Everybody loves to use things to what they think. Oh, dude, don't worry about that, Mike. Um, you have to be consistent. I think you have to try to be consistent. How can you be consistent in your thinking and find a common flow of and connection to the big why in whether you're talking about this or that? And it's not always easy to do, and sometimes it becomes easy to get lost in things because it's what's been fed to us. um, I don't know. Oh, well, I'm glad you gave me the permission not to have to pronounce your name because that wasn't going to happen. Um, Russian bombers, U.S. and Canadian airspace. To be honest with you, I've been kind of disconnected from news and recent events for probably a little bit. Some things you can't get away from. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. Um, it's all events. You know, it's wag the dog. Um, I say it again. I mentioned it's actually a. I have a copy of it over here. I think. I'm sure I do. Um, Samuel Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones, the only two people in the movie. It was Sunset Limited. Super good show. All right, so piece of an untold story that will part of the most amazing story ever told. You're only going to get a piece of it here. I will record it in its full. Always some good commentaries, my friend. I will get this thing put in video format in its entirety. It is a long story, but it is, again, the greatest story of all time. And I'm just so happy to be a participant, to be a small person in it. So it's 1997 BC. That's before cell phones, right? Obviously not actually before cell phones. Cell phones existed at the time, but nobody had them except for the uber rich. And most of those were the big brick phones, right? Motorola's. And I found myself stuck in the United States of America, right? I'm a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps at the time. And I'm stationed in Okinawa. And because of, well, there's only one thing that drove my thoughts at the time, and that was, you can probably guess. And I was, had to go back to the States in order to tie some loose ends up. And I'm driving west from Jacksonville, North Carolina, right? AKA the armpit of the Marine Corps. And I'm in a 1984 Custom Deluxe C20 Chevy pickup truck. It's root beer brown, white pinstripes, custom headache rack, grill guard, and dual antennas whipping in the wind. And I'm driving, and I'm about 30 or 40 miles east of Hotlanta. And this is July or August sometime. And my truck breaks down. It's a standard transmission. Dude, it was awesome, dude. Best truck I've ever had. Um, Truck breaks down, and I pull off to the shoulder, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm now stuck in the United States. In these United States, I'm stuck. If I don't make it back to Okinawa, dude, I'm gonna face NJP. I'm gonna get busted down, and I can't do that, right? Um, so I did the only reasonable thing to do. I picked up my Alice pack, put everything in it, closed the doors, and started walking. A few minutes later, it wasn't long, terribly long, this truck driver stops and he picks me up, and he starts to take me we're going to the truck stop in Atlanta, one of the truck stops in Atlanta. And we start jib-jabbing a little bit, and I ask him if he's a local or long hauler. So, I'm a local guy, man. And I'm like, awesome. So we get to the truck stop. I say, you remember seeing a pickup truck on the side of the road before you picked me up? He's like, yeah, dude, how could I miss it? It was obviously a 1984 Custom Deluxe C20, root beer brown, white pinstripe, custom headache rack, grill guard, and dual antennas whipping in the wind. And I was actually on 10 days of leave, and I'd flown Space A over to the States. And I said, yeah, I saw that thing. And I said, awesome. Well, I'm stuck in the United States, as I just told you the story of why I'm back here and what's going on. And since you're local, man, I can't do anything with this truck. Here's the keys. Maybe you can turn it into a ranch truck or farm truck or whatever, and maybe it'll be a blessing for you. And he was certainly appreciative of it. And I go into the truck stop. It's super late at night. I say super late. It's between probably 10 and 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And I just go find a place and I crash for a few hours. I wake up and I go to the restaurant. Back then, all the truck stops had the big restaurants, right? You had the big restaurants built into it wasn't just the Popeyes or the Burger King or whatever. Like, you had sit-down restaurants. One of the best ones was the Chevron truck stop in El Paso, Texas. Had a great restaurant right there, dude. It was awesome. Sit down. It was so cool. So I go and I sit down at this restaurant and order some breakfast. And the waitress brings the meal, and I reach into my Alice pack for my envelope of cash, because it was 1995, right? And cards were starting to come out, but a lot of places wouldn't take them or couldn't take them. And then a lot of other cards, they were just ATM cards. It's only to pull cash out. That's the only thing you could use them for. And so I had carried with me $500 cash. Well, it wasn't in the Alice pack. It was back in the truck. So that truck driver got a badass truck that probably just needed a new transmission. And $500 cash, which you probably could have bought the transmission for. Craziness. I tell the waitress the story, and she, in her Southern Georgian drawl, is taking pity on me. And of course, I'm her sweetheart. And I tell her the story, and she just got brokenhearted. You don't know the story yet, as far as what the total story here. That'll come in a later video. But she pays for my meal and sends me on my way. And I go and I hit the road. And I'm walking. And at one point, fairly early on, this guy stops and he picks me up. And he says, hey, I'm just going to take you to the outside of town, get you onto the highway going west. And he did that, and dude, that was super awesome, because there was just a lot of cars, a lot of traffic. And not much longer, this guy picks me up, and we start driving. And I tell him the story. He's like, yeah, man, you know, girls, they can be like that sometimes, right? And they're so evil and vindictive, right? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? They sure can. You know, I'm looking over at them. Like, they sure can. They suck. Women suck. Bunch of liars and deceitful hearts. He's like, yeah. He says, he changes the subject kind of quick. He's like, I hear in the army, there's, you know, there's a lot of openness to being open. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. First off, because I'm in the United States Marine Corps, you know, doggy. Um, so yeah, you know, I had some buddies that were in, and they said they were able to really find some companionship with some of the other dudes. And it became really apparent to me that this dude wanted to explore the chocolate starfish, right? The old poop chute. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. But here now, I'm stuck in this car with him, right? And I'm inching over a little bit. Like, we're not gonna do space. There will be space, right, between us. You keep your eyes forward on the road. We're done talking. Well, thank goodness. A couple miles down the road, he had to pull over to get some gas. Hey, pump. And he goes in because we're so close to Atlanta that it was a pay first and pump later, right? Santa Fe was like that in New Mexico. But most every other place growing up, you know, you could pay for, you could pump first and then go in and pay. But we were so close to Atlanta, it just wasn't going to happen. Oh man, thank you so much. He goes in to pay, dude, and I freaking hit the road, man. I'm gone. Like, I grab my house pack, I run across the road. I'm hiding behind some shrubs, and I'm looking out. And he comes out, and he's looking in the car. He doesn't see me. He's like looking all over the place. He's like, man, that fresh meat just got away. I did. I got away. He wasn't gonna get. I remain a virgin to this day when it comes to that shit. He drives off. I come out from behind the bushes, and I go get back on the road, and I start walking, right? And I'm walking, and now the sun is full overhead. Remember, it's July or August, and it's starting to swing down a little bit. And I'm sweating, dude, man. I'm in Wrangler pants. You know, I was a shit kicker, you know, rancher back in the day, and I believed in looking good, right? So I had some tight-fitting Wranglers on, the kind where they were starched, right? The kind of starched Wranglers. You used to starch them and iron them, and my length that I wore were 38. So I was wearing 38 Wrangler jeans, right? That way, had a nice bunch of crunches down at the bottom. That was the thing. And I got my 3-inch riding boots with spur shelf, handmade in Juarez, Mexico, by a custom boot maker. We made all our family's boots, and these were not bell bottoms, but they were boot cut. And I got on a nice shirt, it's a button down shirt, right? And I got on my black Resist All hat, and I'm walking down the highway, walking down the interstate, and I'm looking at all these cars that are passing me. Daryl, it depended. When I wore the long pants, my boots were on the inside. When I wore shorter, my boots were on the outside. Black boots. These ones were black boots with bright blue tops, like 16 rows of stitching. Man, they were fancy. And all these cars passed me, and I started to get furious. Like, I'm mad. Like, look at me. I'm a dadgum United States Marine. And a good looking one at that, too. I ain't don't look like no freaking hobo. These cars pass me like, you're not a fucking good. And I'm just cursing at all these people zipping past me. I'm like, what the wrong with you? Right? And eventually, this van pulls in front of me and he stops. I'm like, oh, yes. I go and hop in. He's like, dude, I'm only going 5 exits forward, but I will give you a ride. It's the least I can do. I'm like, dude, you're awesome. So he starts driving and hauling ass past people that I've already flipped off and yelled at, right? Already flipped off and yelled at. I roll down the window. Man, this is 2 for 1. And I lean out the window and I'm yelling at the people that I've already yelled at for passing me. I'm like, you dadgum, sorry, son of a, like, this guy's a real American with good values and good, you're nothing but a piece of, I'm just yelling at all these guys again. And this dude's looking at me like, what the hell is this guy, right? And he drops me off on the exit ramp. And I start walking, and there's a bridge, right? A lot of exits, right? They're there because bridges to go over the interstate. And I start walking, and I hear the rumble, right? I hear the rumble. And you know, when the cars get over onto the shoulder, there's a little rumble, right? I hear it, and it perks my ears. And I look back behind me, and this car that I've already yelled at, and cursed at, and flipped off, not once, but twice, is now acting like a kamikaze coming for this guy. So I run real fast, and I hop over the guardrail, and they're honking their horns, blowing past me, and we're all flipping each other off. It was a good day in America. Interestingly, like in the mid '90s, like there was not a whole lot of patriotism. You go and you get looked at weird, like you're less than. Like there wasn't a lot of hate of the military, but there wasn't a whole lot of appreciation either. You know, of course, that changed within just a few short years of this, but it's very interesting times. And I get back on the interstate and I start walking again. Not that these dudes knew I was in the military, like I'm in civilian clothes. I'm walking again, and eventually the sun is way out in front of me, right? It's cresting down, like we are in last light, and it's starting to get dark. And I'm walking, and at this point in time, dude, I am freaking tired, right? I've been walking on the interstate all day in 3-inch riding heel boots, backpack, Wrangler jeans. There's some chaff action going on, right? And I'm taking super small steps, like 6-inch steps at a time. But I just got to keep moving because I'm stuck, right? If I don't get back to Okinawa, I'm going to get busted. So I got to keep moving. I got to keep moving in that direction, no matter the cost. And I'm taking such small steps. And I can kind of see this light pushing out from behind me. And I look up, because you see that when cars coming, lights coming, but this one is just, it's not passing me. And there's a sign out in front of me that is becoming illuminated, and I'm stepping closer to it, so it's becoming even more in focus. But it's obvious that the car's not passing. Like it's now like a spotlight on this sign, right? That sign was the Welcome to Alabama sign. So for all of maybe All but maybe 10 miles, maybe 15 at the most. Um, I walked from Atlanta to Alabama, right? And I am just bone ass freaking tired. And this guy stops and he leans over and he rolls down his window, right? Because you had to crank the windows back then, right? Unless you were rich and had a Cadillac Eldorado or something, you didn't have automatic windows controllers. You had to roll them down. He says, "Hey man, where are you trying to get to? You look like shit." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm just trying to get to El Paso, Texas. That's where my dad lived at the time. Just trying to get to El Paso, man." He's like, "Oh, dude, man, I hate to say this, but I'm not going to El Paso. I'm going to Houston." And before he got the N out of his mouth of Houston, I ripped open the door and I threw myself in and said, "Let's go to Houston, baby, because it's a lot closer to El Paso than where I'm at right now." He's like, "Bro, whatever, bro, let's go." So we're driving into Houston, right? And he'd been driving for a while and he's driving straight. And I remember getting into Houston. Now my brother had gone to Texas A&M at Galveston, right? He was studying marine biology. That's another cool town, right? A lot of very cool historic town. His dorm was pretty close to a big sulfur pit, and it just smelled like rancid ass. And not too quick yet, Brent. You think so, but not so fast, right? And I remember my brother telling me stories. Mid '90s, he would have gone to Texas A&M from '90 to '94, I reckon. No, from '88 to '92, he would have been in school. He had cystic fibrosis, so he went to school and then couldn't actually get a job doing marine biology because of Social Security and stuff, which is so awesome to see that they have a new approved treatment for CF that's really doing good, extending life. Um, and I wish it would happen sooner, but it's okay. But my brother told me about all of there was a spree of gang-related murders on the highway, right? People were getting jacked and murdered on the highway, and not just civilians, but cops were being murdered conducting a traffic stop on the highway, right? On the interstate. And so this guy, God bless his soul, stopped on the interstate, where there's been a spree of killing, and said, "There's a bus stop 4 blocks that way." Something to that effect. I'm like, "Well, can't you give me a ride?" Like, "No, bro, not down on that part of town. I ain't going. It's not gonna happen. I'm going home to my family, and I'm gonna make it home to my family. Good luck to you." Oh, okay. So I get out and I close the door, and I'm like, "Shit, I'm gonna freaking die." And I walk down, and sure as shit, there's a police station right there. Right? Remember, I told you that there's not a whole lot of patriotism, right? So I walk into the police station. I'm like, "Hey, my name is Lance Corporal Stoker, and I'm a United States Marine. And I'm stationed in Okinawa, and I'm currently stuck in the United States, and I'm passing through Houston. I hear that there's a bus stop somewhere. I was just looking to see if could somebody give me a ride to the bus stop." He's like, "No, sir, but it is 4 blocks that way." And we'll Semper fucking Fi. Son of a bitch. So I go and Kadena, that's where the story ends. kind of begins and ends at Kadena, actually. Um, and I get to the bus station, and Augusta, right on, my friend. Um, I walk in, I'm like, how much is the bus fare um, to get up to Austin? It's where my brother lived. Um, and he lived in some apartment complex. I knew where it was, but I'd never been there before. It's gonna be something like $40. Of course, I don't have any cash. I do have an ATM card, so I go across the street to the ATM and pull out some cash, and it's right in front of. Hey, man, good to see you. Hell no, I didn't get first class, man. I'm a broke ass junior Marine, and there's all kinds of crackheads out in front of this bus station, because it's a big city bus station, and that's what happens. There's crackheads everywhere. And I'm walking back. Of course, all these dudes just saw me go to the ATM. They know I'm coming back with money. And this guy, he pulls up and he rolls down his window. He's like, hey man, where you going? Trying to go? I'm like, man, I'm just trying to get up to Austin, Texas. How much do they want for a bus ticket? Like, they want $40. I said, $40? Man, I'll take you there for 30. I'm like, sold. Let's go. So I get in his car. And because I'm gonna save me $10 in 1997 or whatever, man. That's 10 packs of smokes, some Mountain Dews, and some hot dogs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of money. So we're gonna make a couple stops. Stop and put some gas in his car. Stop at his apartment. He runs in, comes out, and says, we got one more stop to make, and then we'll get on the road. And he starts driving. And we're obviously in Section 8 housing. And, Gate 2, baby. Whiskey River. Those are hangout out by Kadena. And we obviously in Section 8, like, it's projects, man. Like, it's straight up projects, right? Now remember, I'm a white cowboy wearing fucking starched Wrangler pants that have lost most of their starch by now, a brush popper shirt, and a cowboy hat. And he comes to a stop and he says, hey, don't go anywhere. I'm like, brother, I'm going nowhere. He said, I'll be right back. I'm like, okay. So he gets out of his car and he leaves. I'm like, if I get out of this car, I'm gonna die. If I stay here, I'm probably gonna die. But I am so freaking tired. I'm gonna stay here in the car. At least I'm sitting down. So I lean the seat way back. I take off my hat and I lay down. I'm looking at it. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Sure enough, dude, this guy comes back. I said, all right, man, let's get on the road. So we start driving, and well, he turned that $30 I gave him into a little bit of gas and some crack, right? He says, hey, man, you mind if I smoke some crack while I drive? I'm like, bro, I kind of do. But it is your car, right? It is your car. Why don't you let me drive, and you can do whatever that is that you want to do? He's like, really? He's like, dude, you are the best, man. You are the best. The best ever. And he pulls over, and I start driving up towards Austin. Next thing I know, like, I'm trying to not look, right? But there's this little can and a lighter and some flamage, and there's some smoke coming up. I'm like, dude, you got to roll down your window, man. Because I'm probably going to have a piss test when I get back. There's going to be urinalysis, right? He said, oh, man, I'm so sorry, bro. And he rolls down his window, and he's freaking getting all cracked out. We make my way to my brother's apartment, and I knew where the complex was, right? But I'd never been to his apartment. I just knew that he lived in 4B. 4 Bravo was his apartment. What I did not know, what I failed to fully comprehend, was that there was multiple buildings that all had a 4B. They all had a 4B. At this point in time, he's the only person who knows what's happening. Like my unit doesn't know. The rest of my family doesn't know what's going on. But I did call my brother and tell him I was coming in. So I go to the first 4B and I knock on the door and it's locked. Cool, whatever. I go to the next one, knock on the door and there's no answer, but it is unlocked. So I open the door and I go in. My brother, again, right, he had CF, so he was a night owl. He was an artist, super good artist. And because he couldn't work because of the Social Security, he would keep weird hours. And I look over and there's an easel or something, some kind of artwork that he's doing. And I take my backpack off and I lay it down and I go into the kitchen. I open up the refrigerator and there's like 3 cases of Dr. Pepper. He was so addicted to Dr. Pepper, man. And I make myself a little sandwich, grab one. I go sit down on the couch and I turn on is the push button, right? The old cable boxes, right? 3 rows, you could push the channel that you wanted to watch. I go to the menu screen to figure out we're going to watch some of the Communist News Network. That's what we called it back then. It's still the same thing, right? Turn on the Communist News Network and I go sit down and eating the sandwich and I hear the shower come on. Like, that's weird. Like, Bob, like, he knows I'm coming in. Maybe just set an alarm or something to get up early. But I hear the shower turn on. And about that time, I get up and next to the big box television, right? Big box. There's no flat screens back then. I mean, there were flat screens, but there were no like skinny screens. Bookshelves on either side, and like a lot of people like just like us, we get a lot of stuff on bookshelves that aren't books. There's a lot of family photos and stuff, and I'm looking at this, I'm eating this sandwich, and I'm drinking this Dr. Pepper. I'm like, it's so weird. I don't recognize any of these people. Maybe it must be roommate's family, right? Maybe this is the roommate's family over here. Let me go to this one and look at my family, right? Look at my family. So I go over to this other side. And it's the same thing on both sides. Like it's nothing but sisters. Nothing but sisters, mom and dad. And I'm like, this is just so, my brain is slow. I am tired. This is not making sense until I hear this woman laughing coming from this bedroom, right? There's a woman, my brother does not have a girlfriend, and there is nothing but females in all of these family photos, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to have choking on a sandwich here. I'm quiet. I just broke into somebody's house, apartment, and when she comes out, I'm gonna go to jail. So I do that. I set the half-eaten sandwich down. One more swig of Dr. Pepper. It's like the little bears came in, right? It messed everything up. It's all on the coffee table. I go and I sneak out. And I finally found my brother's apartment. And from his apartment, we call my dad, and I catch a flight to El Paso, and then I catch a flight back to Okinawa, And there's a lot on the front end of how this story started, and there's a lot on the back end that is crazy indeed. But that was the time that I was stuck in and hitchhiked across America. Just a chapter, if you will, of one of the best stories that's ever been told. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think, I think more. I wonder how much um, technology and social media, in all forms and aspects of it, has has removed or isolated us from. Now, I'm not saying everybody should experience what I experienced, but I think almost everybody who's a little bit older, before um, the super rise of technology, has some kind of uh, life story, right? Some kind of adventure that happened that probably couldn't happen now, or certainly wouldn't be supported or hindered, or however you want to look at it. Um, because if I had a cell phone, and so I could have gotten out of that mess in a heartbeat, right? But I didn't have an easy button to get through anything. The reason I didn't call my dad when I was on the road, because it would have been a collect call, right? Um, it would have been a collect call, and I'm not going to make a collect call to ask for money. It's just interesting, right? The thing that this goes back to being cynical, right? The things that um, you think that are moving in the right direction with good intentions have a second and third order of effect that you're just not quite prepared for. So I guess there's that. But I think young men, in particular, need more adventure in their lives. They need more adventure. Um, I am super blessed. Like I don't look down on the younger generation. Dude, it cost an arm and a leg, man. Um, there's a couple of young dudes that I work with on a pretty regular basis, and um, I'm so happy that our paths crossed. Like they're good dudes living good, adventurous lives, right? Good character, and I'm blessed to be able to witness it, and it gives me hope, right? Um, there is a lot of good hope out there. I just think it gets robbed from us. We take it for granted. Just like being going back to being a cynic. Like what the only thing that the media does, it's both sides, and it's cultish playbook, right? I'm going to love bomb you in your way of thinking, and affirm that, and then I'm going to demonize the other side, right? I'm going to demonize the other side to the point where you believe that anybody who believes differently than you, I don't care if you're a Republican and hate Democrats and liberals, progressive, or if you're a progressive guy and you despise conservatism. If you get to the point where it's an us versus them dichotomy, and it is the them is the other, and the other is evil, and the other is destroying our way of life. If that's where you get to, you don't actually believe that. I mean, go walk through a Walmart, right? Half the people in your hometown, half the people in this town that I live in, which is uber red, maybe not half, maybe 40%, are Democrats, right? Super red county is red as it gets, right? You go to Seattle, Washington, super blue. Um, Lacey, Washington, right, just south of it, in between Olympia and Tacoma, is about as conservative as it gets. And half the people that you meet, half the people on the road, half the people that you work with, probably view things differently, But if you truly had an us versus them mentality, then you would hate and despise them. And you don't. You get along with them, you have good conversations, because the humanity is not lost in a one-on-one interaction. It's lost in a faceless interaction, right? There's no humanity on the other side. There's no human on the other side of the screen. I can type all I want, right? Brent, man, I feel you. Like falling down, right? Like the older we get, the more falling down becomes. You understand it, right? Same with National Lampoon's. I'm just gonna get a fucking tree, whatever it takes. I'm gonna put up a tree. Well, friends, that's a long time. There's been an hour and some change. Holy smokes, almost 2 hours. I think that was everything I had that was on my mind. When I was getting ready for tonight, like, of course it was going to be, Fieldcraft, survival related, and then I changed it a little perspective, and I was going to have it, more liberty based, and I had a whole outline for that. Maybe that'll be a separate video. I've already made some new videos. They're on the shelf. You have a few more old ones that are coming up. Hey, good evening, my friend. If you ain't first, you're last, and you ain't last, so don't worry about it. I've been regurgitating a lot of old videos, and I knew it was going to happen, right? I put up a video a few weeks ago. It was one of the first ones that I re-chopped up. I went back through my catalog, and I found a bunch of videos that had very poor views, very poor engagement, that I thought were decent videos, right? Some of them had more work in them than others, but I thought they all could have had a second look. So I took them and I chopped them up. In some cases, 50% got cut. I just took out all the stuff. Oh man, I'm glad. I got fiber now, finally. Like, man, I can't tell you, man. I used to have 25 meg service, right? I live out in the sticks, right? And I've been waiting on fiber for a long time, and now I finally got it, and I'm so happy. And that's why all my previous lives here have been crap. But I uploaded all these videos. One of the first ones was I had no beard, right? And I knew somebody was gonna say, "Oh my God, Stoker shaved." Like, no, I didn't shave. It's just an old video. Some of y'all caught it and was like, "Hey, yeah, this is just an old video. Like, you're not OG enough or whatever." And so I chuckled. And been doing that just to kind of have a little sabbatical of making content. I didn't want to. I didn't want the channel to suffer by taking a break, so fiber is in the ditch. Yes, come to find out, Gabe. So they blast through it. They tunneled with water, right? It's pretty interesting. So that's why there was no ditch digging. They just pushed through it. Whatever, I don't care. Still in the ditch. So I regurgitated some videos, and I still have some that are scheduled, and then some new stuff will be coming out, and I still deal with a little bit of motivation to do some of the content that has got me here, right? Some of the content that has got me here, I don't know if that's what's going to get me there. And I don't know if there's going to be a complete change of format. If I do, like, it'll probably be strict, more stricter, if you will, value-based conversations, and less clunky thinking about production and angle and stuff like that. Like some of the Fieldcraft stuff, like it's cool, but and I could make honestly, I could probably draft another 50 compass videos, but it would all be the same thing. Like it's all the same thing, just said a little bit differently. And I've said it so much um, that it's almost, and not just navigation stuff, but just all Fieldcraft stuff. I'm more interested in thinking about the why, the so what, right? I started this being cynical. So what? So you believe in Fieldcraft? So what? What's the so what for? Get that right first. Get your why right first. And I don't think I spend enough time thinking and talking and generating conversation about the why. And that kind of sometimes it bugs me because I really want to. I think I should, and I certainly enjoy thinking about it. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it'll stay the same it is. Maybe it'll be just some interwoven. Maybe it'll be a little bit of both. Like who knows? We'll see. No matter what, YouTube's not gonna like it, and that's okay too. Man, I appreciate all you guys hanging out here for a while. I think we're going on, it looks like an hour and a half, 91 minutes. Got a few more minutes. If y'all want to jib jab, you got some questions, you got some comments that need some things coming back at you. We can jib jab for a little bit. So from here on, we'll call it maybe the next 10, 15 minutes, maybe. Comments will drive the conversation. Man, I used to watch NASCAR, man. Used to love it. I was a Rusty fan. But I haven't watched NASCAR since my Marine Corps days, I think. Right on. Greg asked me comments about the current administration, scale of 1 to 10. Oh my gosh. Controversy sells, I guess. I feel like I'll call it a 2. Maybe a 4. I don't know. Could always be worse. I'm not a fan of any national. Right on. I'm just not a fan of nationalism. Right. I'm not a fan of how cooperative federalism has. It is diametric. It is opposed to the Constitution. Cooperative federalism, which is not the same as dual federalism, is diametrically opposed to the Constitution. And anything that supports that, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan. Turkey date. Man, I'm hoping, speaking of Turkey Day, to get to Texas for Thanksgiving. I really want to go visit my dad. Like he's 83, 84, just gave up his last goats. Now he's got some chickens and of course he's got dogs and he still has got the rest of his homestead to take care of, but he doesn't have any cows or goats anymore. And I don't get to see him very much. So I'm looking forward to try to get to them. I'm not a huge fan of stuffing. Maybe some refried beans stuffing would be good. I mean, I am. Oh, dude. I think if El Presidente has his way, there'll be troops in Portland. Um, but should there be? Probably not. Um, we'll see. Yeah, man, I'm gonna open up one of my goals in life is to open up a Mexican restaurant, and I'm gonna call it El Loco Gringo. Dude, I make the some bomber Mexican food, man. You know, and I'm not talking about Tex-Mex because that shit ain't Mexican. Like I'm talking about New Mexican food, man. I can make some Mexican food. Come on. Um, yeah, dude, everybody's happy about bear hunting here, and that's all everybody was talking about when I was running around fishing today. Um, only if it's hatch green chilies, my friend. Only if it's hatch green chili. Um, that's what it's got to be. Yeah, dude, I don't care about generals. They're all nothing but politicians, and they will go whichever way the wind blows, and they can all suck it. We should need some more fur sergeants up there. We'll see. And here's the thing, and this is why I'm a little bit cynical of, you know, wanting to dudes. Oh, we're gonna make a change. We're gonna bring in all these guys, and we're gonna give them purpose, direction, motivation to go back and uphold the rule and all that stuff. Um, yeah, and uphold the standard. If 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 things only happen through executive action and through executive order and through administrative action, if there's no legislation that codifies a change, then it doesn't mean anything, right? If a change is for 4 years, for 8 years, for 16 years, then it doesn't mean anything. It has no actual value. It's just wag the dog. Yeah, Gabe. Let's make some meat. Let's just put it on the calendar. Oh yeah, and you can testify, man. Them carnitas slap your mama. Um, and there will always be another schmuck, man. There will always be another schmuck, which means that your current schmuck is just a schmuck, like the next schmuck and the last schmuck. They're none but schmucks. Quit being a schmuck and go do some life, right? Focus on the things that are important. Everybody's a schmuck. I'm just a schmuck who makes good Mexican food. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah, Mike, I feel you. So my dad was born in 42, and his birthday is just before Thanksgiving. So I'm looking to make a road trip out there and spend a few days and Thanksgiving and then come back. And hopefully it'll be a good time. Probably going to take a southern route again, Brent, or else we'd have to make some kind of a stop. Whatever Mama makes. Oh my God. But maybe one day, or maybe you'll end up back this way in Tennessee again. Not too far from us. We'll see. What else we got, team? Got a few minutes, and we're gonna have to get out of here. I think. What else we got? 68, right on, baby. Yeah, man. Trout fishing. Try to go camping with the family. My son-in-law is getting ready to join the military. Um, he should be shipping out pretty soon, I think. And he's going in the army. He's going to go to basic. Um, and oh man, I love me some green chili stew. We're at in the land of enchantment, are you? Um, and we're gonna try to go fishing off of the headwaters of the Telco River. Beautiful area, beautiful area. Um, I'm gonna try to get there with them before they go up, before they head out. Is reloading viable? Well, I think it depends on what you're shooting. Like, if you got a 45-70, like there's some value in reloading that because it's over $2 a round, right? Like it's $2, $2, $2, $2, $2. Like it's ridiculous. If you're shooting 5.56, honestly, I don't think so. Um, other than the process of going through it and figuring this out, there's value in that, right? Um, but it's like a dual income household where the wife might make very small amount of money and then paying for childcare. Like it may all go to childcare, but there's still value in getting out and working and having that interaction. Just like there's value in being home, but you may not get more. Maybe it saves you a penny, 2 pennies, 10 cents, like whatever. But there's still value in doing it, even if it's not economic value. Europe will probably not stop buying Russian gas, man. Everybody, Golden, New Mexico, right on. Um, Man, I'd love to get back to New Mexico. I would love to. Which would be funny because my mom moved here um, to Georgia because I knew whenever I got up because my brother passed, and whenever I retired, like I knew my mom was going to move wherever I moved, and she was in Albuquerque at the time, living in her mom's house on the east side. Um, my dad grew up down in the valley. Two totally different lifestyles. Um, and she sold the place and moved out here. And my wife, we're not gonna move. We'll probably stay here forever. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just not home, if you will. Like it's home, but because it's where my family, it's where my wife is. Um, but there's something about New Mexico, man. I love it. Our board, man. I appreciate you saying that. Um, and yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, Albuquerque's been pretty whack. Good stuff, Mike. I know we've been going for a while. Coffee pot turned off a while back. Well, compadres, um, that's is a weird thing. Growing up in New Mexico, lived on the border for years. I don't know near enough Spanish as I should. My dad is super good um, at, at a couple different dialects because he can speak differently on the border and interior and being in the business that he was. I kind of got all over it. I do know when I'm getting cussed at, and I know how to ask where the bathrooms are at. Let's see. Um, I can speak a little bit. I understand more than I can speak, I guess. It has been an outstanding hour and a half, man. If there's anything left that you guys got questions or whatever. No, yeah, no, I understand, Brent. Um, good stuff. Um, then we can entertain that. If not, we'll close this out. Yeah, maybe so. Who knows? We'll see. It it'd be awesome to be able to, like, I would love to maybe do some lives too, but have uh, a guest or set up maybe something up in the command post to have a couple folks and have some chat. Because I'd love to introduce you to some of these guys that I work with and do some different things. Because there's so much good out there that gets lost. There's also a lot of bullshit that needs to be talked about too. So it's a little bit of all of it. But I appreciate you guys, my man. Appreciate you all hanging out. Dude, Brent's welcome anytime. Like, anytime. No questions asked. I'm just letting. Yeah, I have no idea where he's at these days. He's probably in California right now. Maybe he's back in Germany. I don't know. But he's always welcome to. I appreciate you guys, man. We're gonna close this out. For everybody who's been here for a while, like Brent and some of the other dudes, man, you've been hanging out for a long time. I enjoy talking story and hearing some of your stories and struggles and things that you're concerned about and questions that you ask, because it gives me something to think about. It gives me a question to ask that maybe I haven't considered. Me, Hondo, and Harley. We will keep this conversation rolling as we keep going. Until then, man, you guys out there, you keep grinding and you stay stoked. What you think, boys? Come here. Come here. I know. You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi? Say hi. Come here. Come here. Oh, there he is. Yes, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. And there's little Harley, but everybody's saying goodbye, huh? You guys gotta say goodbye too. You probably need to go outside, huh? You need to go outside? We'll see you guys. Adios.